Hello all gamers. We're kicking off the countdown of adrenaline-pumping action and heart-pounding excitement. In a world where pixels meet with precision and virtual battlefields become the target for unforgettable experiences, we present to you the top 25 first-person shooters worth playing in 2024. Lock yourself away from everyone and embark on a thrilling journey through the latest and greatest first-person shooter games, where every trigger pull matters and every shot leaves an indelible mark. Regardless of everything, this carefully selected list will be your roadmap to the most exciting, intense, and visually stunning first-person shooters that 2024 has to offer. From futuristic dystopias to historical battlefields, our countdown covers vast and varied areas of gaming, ensuring that every gaming enthusiast will find something for themselves. Join us as we explore the cutting-edge graphics, innovative game mechanics and compelling storytelling that set these games apart in the ever-evolving world of first-person shooters. So, get ready. Grab your favorite gaming devices, and get ready to dive headfirst into the intense firefights, strategic maneuvers, and stunning landscapes that await you in the top 25 first-person shooters you can play in 2024. Your next gaming obsession may be a headshot away. Let the countdown begin. Doom Eternal. We have been waiting for a long time for this game series of the popular project, which will again send you to the expanses of a dangerous world and face thousands of treacherous opponents. Now the difficulty has increased, which means that to cope with the mission you will not be as easy as it may seem at first glance. The game has become even more unpredictable, which requires you to be even more attentive on this or that location. Enemies are not slumbering and are ready to destroy you in no time, which you should not allow. The storyline has secrets and dark mysteries. You once again take on the role of a brave and fearless hero, whose home planet is in danger of destruction by the supporters of Hell. Battlefield 3. A true breakthrough in the shooter genre that introduced a whole new experience in the world of online battles, adding the ability to fight between 64 players on maps. For fans of single-player campaigns, there is a dramatic story with incredible special effects, all thanks to the Frostbite engine. Throughout the game you'll play as 4 characters such as SGT, Henry Blackburn, the main character. On his behalf the narrative goes on. SGT, Jonathan Miller, tank operator. LT, Jennifer Hawkins as a fighter pilot. Dmitry Mayakovsky as a GRU operative. The story centers on a counter-terrorist operation to prevent nuclear attacks on Earth's largest cities. The People's Liberation Resistance under the leadership of Farouk al-Bashir has seized power in Iran and threatens the whole world with war and destruction, even at the cost of the lives of all their comrades in arms, because for them the main thing is chaos. Left 4 Dead 2 is a 2009 first-person shooter video game developed and published by Valve. The game was released for Microsoft Windows and Xbox 360 in November 2009, Mac OS X in October 2010, and Linux in July 2013. Left 4 Dead 2 is based on cooperative gameplay and Valve's own source engine, the same game engine used in the original Left 4 Dead. The game is set in the aftermath of an apocalyptic pandemic. The game centers on 4 new survivors battling hordes of zombies known as the Infected, who develop severe psychosis and act extremely aggressive. The survivors must make their way through 5 campaigns, interspersed with safe houses that act as checkpoints, with the goal of escaping at the finale of each campaign. Gameplay is procedurally generated with AI Director 2.0, which tracks player actions and adjusts the scenario to create a dynamic challenge. Other new features include new types of special infected and an arsenal of edged weapons. The game made its world premiere at E3 2009 with a trailer during Microsoft's press conference. Prior to release, it received mixed reactions from critics and the public and caused an unusually large amount of controversy over its graphical content. The game received positive reviews from critics and is considered one of the greatest video games ever made. Apex Legends is a free-to-play battle royale shooter game developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by Electronic Arts. It was released for PlayStation 4, Windows and Xbox One in February 2019, for Nintendo Switch in March 2021, and for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X in March 2022. A mobile version of the game called Apex Legends Mobile was released in May 2022 on Android and iOS. Before a match, players form into squads of 2 or 3 players and choose pre-created characters with distinctive abilities known as Legends. Apex Legends is set in the same sci-fi universe as Respawn Entertainment's Titanfall series, with several characters from the Titanfall series appearing as secondary characters. Work on the game began around the end of 2016, but the project remained a secret until launch. The game's release in 2019 came as a surprise, as until then it was assumed that Respawn Entertainment was working on the third installment of the Titanfall franchise. The studio's previous major game, Apex Legends, received generally positive reviews from critics, who praised the gameplay, the development system and the combination of elements from different genres. Some considered it a worthy competitor to other battle royale games. Apex Legends surpassed 25 million players by the end of the first week and 50 million players in the first month. By April 2021, it had nearly 100 million players, making it one of the most popular video games in terms of player count. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is a 2009 first-person shooter video game developed by Infinity Ward and published by Activision. It is the sixth installment in the Call of Duty series and the direct sequel to Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. It was released worldwide on November 10, 2009 for Windows, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. On the same day, a separate version was released for Nintendo DS called Modern Warfare, Mobilized. The OS X version was developed by Aspyr and released in May 2014, while the Xbox 360 version became backwards compatible with Xbox One in 2018. The game's campaign tells the story of Task Force 141, a multinational special operations unit under the command of Captain Soap McTavish, who is hunting Vladimir Makarov, the leader of the Russian ultranationalist party, and the U.S. Army Rangers of the 1st Ranger Battalion, who were defending the Washington, D.C. area from a Russian invasion. The game's main playable characters are SGT, Gary Roach, Sanderson of Unit 141 and Private James Ramirez of the Army Rangers, while Captain McTavish will become playable later in the campaign. Modern Warfare 2 received universal acclaim, praised for its campaign, multiplayer and amount of content, though it was somewhat criticized for its short length and lack of innovation. Within 24 hours of release, the game had sold approximately 4.7 million copies in North America and the United Kingdom and was the best-selling video game of 2009 in the United States. As of 2013, 2.7 million copies of the game have been sold, becoming one of the best-selling video games for the PlayStation 3 and the best-selling video game for the Xbox 360. In addition to its release, it was also accompanied by a comic book series based on the character Simon Ghost Riley called Modern Warfare 2, Ghost. Despite the game's success, it caused some controversy, including around a game level in which the player carried out a terrorist attack at an airport. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered was released on PlayStation 4 in March 2020 and in April 2020 for Windows and Xbox One. Battlefield 1 is a first-person shooter video game developed by DICE and published by Electronic Arts. It was released for PlayStation 4, Windows and Xbox One in October 2016. Battlefield 1 received positive reviews from critics, who considered it an improvement over previous installments in the series. Most of the praise was addressed to the World War I setting, single-player campaigns, multiplayer modes, visuals and sound design. The game was a commercial success, selling more than 15 million copies. Battlefield 1 is a first-person shooter that emphasizes teamwork. The action takes place during World War I and is inspired by historical events. In the game, you can use World War I-era weapons, including slash and bolt rifles, submachine guns, automatic and semi-automatic rifles, artillery, flamethrowers, and poison gas to fight your enemies. Melee combat was redesigned, with DICE introducing new melee weapons such as sabers, trench clubs, and shovels to the game. These melee weapons were divided into 3 groups: heavy, medium, and light. You could also take control of various armored vehicles, including light and heavy tanks, armored trucks, automobiles, torpedo boats, aircraft, armored train, reconnaissance vehicles, dreadnought and M-class airship, as well as use horses in combat. Destructible environments and weapon customization, features present in previous games, are back in Battlefield 1 and more dynamic. You can control multiple characters in the campaign. If a player dies in the prologue, they will take control of another soldier and roll instead of reloading from a checkpoint. These roles can range from tank gunner to gunner. Unlike its predecessors, the game features an anthology-like collection of war stories. The game's multiplayer mode supports up to 64 players. A new squad system allows a group of players to simultaneously enter and leave game servers. According to Berlin, playing the game without joining a squad will make the gameplay much more difficult. The multiplayer maps are based on several World War I fronts around the world, including the Middle East, the Western Front, Gallipoli and the Alps. Further expansions introduced the Eastern Front and the Russian Civil War, as well as naval battles in the North Sea. The game launched with 9 maps and 6 modes, including Conquest, Superiority, Operations, Rush, Team Deathmatch, and Battle Pigeons, a mode in which you must guard the battle pigeons and use them to call in an artillery strike. Payday 2 is a first-person shooter video game developed by Overkill Software and published by 505 Games. The game is the sequel to 2011's Payday, The Heist. It was released in August 2013 for Windows, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. An updated version of the game, subtitled Crime Wave Edition, was released for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in June 2015 and for Nintendo Switch in February 2018. 2 years after the events of the previous game, the Payday gang arrives in Washington, D.C., to commit another heist. The player takes control of one of the 22 gang members and can commit robberies alone or with 3 teammates. The player can participate in a variety of robberies including bank, store and armored car robberies as well as drug production and distribution. There are 7 difficulty levels: normal, difficult, very difficult, overkill, mayhem, death wish and death sentence, with increased payouts of money and experience for higher difficulty levels. Most enemies are SWAT units derived from the DC Police, then FBI SWAT, GenSec private security contractors, and finally the Department of Homeland Security. As the difficulty increases, these are joined by special forces units. The game differs from its predecessor in that it allows for much more player customization, aesthetically and in terms of gameplay, a slightly improved graphical interface and experience, more variety and playability in levels, and redesigned stealth mechanics. An accompanying web series was created to promote the game. The game was profitable through pre-orders alone and received positive reviews. Portal 2 is a 2011 platform puzzle game developed by Valve for Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The PC digital version is distributed online through Valve's Steam service, while all retail editions were distributed by Electronic Arts. A Nintendo Switch port was included as part of Portal Companion Collection. Players solve puzzles by placing portals and teleporting between them. Portal 2 adds features such as attract beams, lasers, light bridges, and paint-like gels that alter the player's movement or allow portals to be placed on any surface. In the single-player campaign, players control Shell, who navigates the dilapidated Aperture Science Development Center as it is being rebuilt by the supercomputer GLaDOS. New characters include the robot Wheatley and Aperture founder Cave Johnson. In the new co-op mode, players work together to solve puzzles as robots Atlas and Peabody. Valve announced Portal 2 in March 2010 and promoted it through alternative reality games, including Potato Sack, created in collaboration with several independent game developers. Upon release, Valve released downloadable content and a simplified map editor allowing players to create and share levels. Portal 2 received critical acclaim for its gameplay, balanced learning curve, pacing, black humor, script and acting. Numerous publications and critics have called it one of the greatest video games ever made. Half-Life 2, a globally popular game, which with its release amazed the entire gaming world and became the best in its genre. This project was able to get a lot of awards for a short period of time, which speaks of its fascination. Each character, down to the last detail, will be endowed with realistic animation, as well as the game can boast the level of development of the graphical component and quite interesting gameplay. Each character will interact with the other, thus presenting a huge world more realistic. All Half-Life 2 characters have artificial intelligence, so you will not be bored. You will be able to enjoy a very interesting plotline, which will lead you to unexpected turns of events. Overwatch 2 is a free-to-play multiplayer first-person shooter game developed and published by Blizzard Entertainment. A sequel to the hero shooter Overwatch, the game retains the familiar gameplay atmosphere for the PvP mode and adds persistent cooperative modes. The main change to the PvP mode was the reduction in team size from 6 to 5 people, which required the redesign of several characters. The game was released in early access on October 4, 2022 for Windows, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch. Cyberpunk 2077 is a 2020 role-playing video game developed by CD Projekt Red and published by CD Projekt. The game was developed by a team of around 500 people using the Red Engine 4 game engine. CD Projekt opened a new division in Wrocław, Poland and partnered with Digital Scapes, Nvidia, QLOC and Jolly Research to assist in production. After years of anticipation, CD Projekt released Cyberpunk 2077 for PlayStation 4. Stadia, Windows and Xbox One on December 10, 2020, and on February 15, 2022 for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Cyberpunk 2077 is an action role-playing game set in a dystopian cyberpunk universe. The player assumes the role of V, a mercenary in a fictional California city known as Night City. The player can customize voice, face, hairstyle, body type and its modifications, background and clothing. The characteristic categories, body, intelligence, reflexes, technique, and coolness, affect the player's playstyle. V can take cover, aim, run, jump, double jump, and glide. Melee strikes can be made with melee weapons. There are 3 types of ranged weapons, each of which can be customized and modified: powerful, technological, penetrating walls and enemies, and smart, with homing bullets. 4 types of damage can be inflicted and countered by enemies: physical, thermal, electrical and chemical. Using weapons increases accuracy and reload speed, which is evident in the character animations. The game can be completed without killing anyone by using non-lethal variants of weapons and cyberware. Cyberpunk 2077 was praised by critics for its narrative, setting, and graphics. By October 2023, more than 25 million units of the game had been sold. Its total sales were reported to be over $436 million, making it one of the best-selling video games ever. A sequel, codenamed Project Orion, was announced in October 2022. Far Cry 3 is a 2012 first-person shooter video game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. Ubisoft Montreal collaborated with Ubisoft's global development team including Massive Entertainment, Ubisoft Shanghai, Ubisoft Bucharest, Ubisoft Reflections and Red Storm Entertainment. Development of the game was partially restarted in 2010 after the departure of several key creative staff. The team evaluated feedback on Far Cry 2 and identified areas that needed to be improved or removed. The team spent a lot of time designing the island, which they described as the second most important character in the game. The game was announced in June 2011 and Ubisoft promoted it through various companion apps, web series and crossover. It was released for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The game is set in the fictional Rook Islands, a tropical archipelago somewhere in the Pacific Ocean controlled by pirates and mercenaries, which players are free to explore. A variety of weapons can also be used to defeat human enemies and hostile wildlife. Protagonist Jason Brody must rescue his friends kidnapped by pirates and escape the island and its distraught inhabitants. Players control Jason Brody and can accomplish missions and objectives in different ways. They can kill enemies using firearms such as assault rifles, sniper rifles, grenade launchers, rocket launchers, and explosives such as landmines and grenades. Alternatively, players can use stealth to avoid the attention of enemies. For example, players can scout an enemy outpost by using a camera to mark the location of enemies, or by throwing rocks to distract enemies. A stealthy approach, which can be accomplished with silenced weapons and combat knives, can prevent enemies from activating alarms that require reinforcements. Upon release, the game received critical acclaim, with praise for its characters, design, visuals, development and gameplay, and multiplayer modes. The game was a commercial success, selling 10 million copies. At the end of the year, it was nominated for several awards, including Game of the Year and Best Shooter awards, from several gaming publications. It has also been called one of the greatest video games. Ubisoft supported the game with downloadable content and released Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon, a standalone expansion for the game, in 2013. Metro Exodus is a first-person shooter video game developed by 4A Games and published by Deep Silver. Metro Exodus was announced in 2017 and released for PlayStation 4, Windows and Xbox One in 2019. An updated version of the game called Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition was released for Windows, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X in 2021. It is the third installment of the Metro video game series. The game is a sequel to Metro Last Light in the book Metro 2035, and tells about the protagonist Artyom and his team, who leave the Moscow subway and go traveling through the post-apocalyptic wasteland of the former Russian Federation in the Republic of Kazakhstan, fighting mutated creatures and hostile people. The story is set over the course of a year, during which Artyom visits places such as the Volga River and the Caspian Sea. The action takes place over the course of one game year. As the story progresses, the environment changes with the seasons. The game improves on the game mechanics of Last Light. It includes several miniature locations in an open world and features linear levels like previous games in the series. Starting in 2014, the game was developed by a team of about 150 people from Kiev and Malta. The team experimented with open-world gameplay and eliminated mission markers so players could explore naturally. Metro Exodus received generally positive reviews from critics who praised its visuals, game design, and story. As of March 2023, more than 8.5 million units of the game have been sold. 2 downloadable expansions called Two Kernels and Sam's Story, each featuring a new playable character, were released in August 2019 and February 2020, respectively. In November 2020, it was announced that a sequel was in development. Fallout 4 is a 2015 role-playing video game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It is the 4th major game in the Fallout series, released worldwide on November 10, 2015 for PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox One. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic open world that encompasses the city of Boston and the surrounding region of Massachusetts known as the Commonwealth. The main story takes place in the year 2287, 10 years after the events of Fallout 3 and 210 years after the Great War that caused catastrophic nuclear devastation in the United States. And so, you take control of a character called the Sole Survivor, who emerges from prolonged cryogenic stasis in Sanctuary 111, an underground fallout shelter. After witnessing the murder of his spouse and the kidnapping of his son, the Sole Survivor travels to the Commonwealth to search for the missing child. You explore the game's half-destroyed world, completing various quests, helping factions, and gaining experience points to level up and expand your character's abilities. Fallout 4 is also the first game in the series to feature a fully voiced protagonist. Fallout 4 received positive reviews from critics, with many praising the depth of the world, player freedom, overall amount of content, crafting, story, characters, and soundtrack. Criticism was mostly directed at the simplistic RPG elements of the game compared to its predecessors and technical issues. The game sold 12 million units to retailers, bringing in $750 million in the first 24 hours after launch. It received numerous awards from various gaming publications and honors, including respective Game of the Year and Best Game awards at the DICE Awards and British Academy Games Awards. Bethesda has released 6 add-ons with downloadable content, including the Far Harbor and Nuka World expansions. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a multiplayer tactical first-person shooter developed by Valve and Hidden Path Entertainment. It is the 4th game in the Counter-Strike series. Global Offensive has been in development for over 2 years and was released for OS X, PlayStation 3, Windows and Xbox 360 in August 2012 and for Linux in 2014. In the game, 2 teams, terrorists and counter-terrorists, fight each other in different game modes based on objectives. In the most common game modes, the terrorists plant a bomb while the counter-terrorists try to stop them, or the counter-terrorists try to rescue hostages taken by the terrorists. There are 9 official game modes, each of which has its own features specific to that mode. The game also features player matching support, which allows players to play on Valve's dedicated servers as well as community-hosted servers, with customizable maps and game modes. The Danger Zone Battle Royale mode was introduced in late 2018. Upon release, Global Offensive received positive reviews from critics who praised the game for its gameplay and fidelity to the Counter-Strike series. Since its release, it has attracted around 11 million players per month and remains one of the most popular games on Valve's Steam platform. In December 2018, Valve moved the game to a free-to-play model, focusing on cosmetic item revenue. The game features an active cyber sports scene, continuing the history of international competition from previous games in the series. Teams compete in professional leagues and tournaments, with the game often being hailed as one of the best in esports. My friends, our journey through the top 25 first-person shooters worth playing in 2024 has come to a grand conclusion. From intense shootouts to strategic warfare, these games represent the pinnacle of gaming excellence in the FPS genre. As the digital dust settles, we hope this countdown will arm you with an arsenal of exciting options to help quench your gaming appetite. Whether you're a fan of futuristic science fiction, historical battles, or something in between, the diverse selection on our list ensures that there's a virtual battlefield created just for you. The gaming world is constantly evolving, and these gems of first-person shooters demonstrate the industry's commitment to pushing boundaries, delivering unprecedented graphics, and immersing players in compelling storylines. As you embark on your gaming adventures in the year 2024, may your reflexes be sharp, your aim true, and your victories sweet. A huge salute to the developers who work tirelessly to bring these virtual worlds to life, and to you, our fellow gamers, for joining us on this exciting journey. Don't forget to let us know in the comments which games you enjoy playing the most, or if we've missed any hidden gems that deserve a spot on the list, as the gaming saga continues. Until next time, keep playing, keep exploring, and may you have many victories.